my name is Phoebe Watson and I'm the Key Account Manager for Leaders. I'm responsible for the Leaders Investor Network and the Buy-to-Let Consultancy and wanted to take this opportunity to introduce these two services to you. As David has already said, the rental market is currently very buoyant, with rising demand making it a great time to be a landlord. As a result of this, we're seeing an increased number of landlords and investors looking to grow their portfolio. So with this in mind, let me present the Leaders Investor Network. We launched the network in order to help our clients gain access to some great buy-to-let opportunities, which may otherwise not be available on the open market. The concept is quite simple. When a Leaders landlord is looking to sell a good rental property with the tenants in situ, we let the members of Investor Network know. We provide details of an independent sales valuation, our thoughts on the yield, suitability of the property for the rental market, and how the property has performed over the number of years we have managed it. Unlike a standard open market purchase where the property will be empty and with an initial void period, the property is already tenanted and producing a rental income. The client purchasing gains a long-standing tenant from day one. To ensure the best returns for our investors, we will only inform you of properties that are achieving an absolute minimum gross yield of 5%, but very often these yields will be even higher. Not only does the Investor Network offer access to properties across Sussex, but it also includes properties in the Leaders Group across Sussex, Surrey, Hampshire, East Anglia and even the north of England. You'd also have access to the full rental and maintenance history. Many of our members find this a huge asset when comparing properties and choosing the best investment for you. The other benefit is that there's no fees to join, there's no finder's fee on purchase. It really is a completely free service to all of those looking to purchase. So a couple of investment considerations for you. The first one would be yield versus capital growth. You need to decide what is more important to you, the monthly income or the capital growth. As I'm sure that everybody would like the best of both worlds, but this isn't always possible. Normally you will find that something that is generating an excellent monthly income or the potential to add value or gain value depending on the location of the property. Location plays a huge part on this point. It's very important to be aware of the north-south divide in the country. In the north of England, there are massive yields on offer, mainly 8% and above. However, this area doesn't necessarily have the security of the capital growth. In the south, the yields are not as high, but you will be protected by the high demand for the rental property and the increasing rental amounts. Local attachment versus out-of-area property. Most landlords say that they would prefer to be closer to their investment, but this attitude is changing. With the support of a good letting agent, more and more landlords are buying property out of their comfort zone, and it's important to view your investment as just that, a business. You need to take the emotion out of the equation when investing in property. I wanted to show you a few examples of properties that we have available on the Investor Network, and firstly is a property in Chichester. This is an opportunity to acquire 5 one-bedroom houses, all finished to a very high standard and offer allocated parking. And in my opinion, this probably is a good example of one that offers the best of both worlds. The yield and capital growth potential are both good. A yield of 6% with rents ranging from £740 to £800 per calendar month and available to purchase at £750,000. The next one is a one-bedroom flat in Worthing in Liverpool Gardens. This is a really lovely one-bedroom property in a period building. Really good condition and a very long-term tenant there. Offering 5.2% on the yield, with an asking price of £145,000 and a rent of £640. This probably would be the sort of off-the-shelf, no-hassle purchase if you wanted that sort of thing. Norfolk Square in Brighton, this is an opportunity to purchase an entire freehold, and this building comprises 8 units with a selection of Studio 1 and 2-bedroom flats, and currently valued at 1.3 million with a monthly rental income of 5,900. You would be looking at a 5.8% yield. This one certainly offers the capital growth security, particularly because it's in a very popular location in Sussex. And lastly, a studio flat in Littlehampton. This is in a new Victorian house on the seafront. Current yield 6.8%, which is very good, with an asking price of 73,000, the rental income of 375 per calendar month. And this would be a really good example of what works well for those seeking a better yield in Sussex and who are happy with an out-of-area investment. So it's hopefully given you an idea of what the network offers in terms of properties. Members of the Investor Network will exclusively have access to these details and be able to choose the best investments to suit their needs. If you'd like to become a member of the Investor Network, please come and find me today after the presentations are over. So moving on to the buy-to-let consultancy. The consultancy is a great opportunity for first-time investors to benefit from a kind of tailor-made hand-holding service. Remembering that leaders are the letting specialists, this means that you will benefit from completely unbiased advice within whatever local market you're looking in. This advice will hopefully give you peace of mind that the property you purchase will be ideal for the rental market from the word go. So what does the service include? You have firstly a one-to-one consultation. We would discuss your requirements, pinpointing any areas, the target audience, and whether you want to take on any works or refurbishments. Priority access to a full range of properties. This would include any local properties through the Investor Network, but also with some excellent local contacts we have with estate agents. Telephone support and guidance and suggestions of properties. So this would be that we may put forward suggestions of properties that are available in the open market that may suit your criteria. Refurbishment advice, accompanied viewings on your shortlisted properties. So once you've narrowed your search down to say 3 or 5 properties, we would attend on those viewings with you and assist you with making the final selection. Confirmation of the estimated rental figure. This may obviously be in the form of a letter to your mortgage lender. And finally, once you've made the decision, then the investor will benefit from a discounted full management rate with leaders for the first tenancy. So all of this for just £500 plus VAT. So just to recap on things to consider, when you're growing your portfolio or investing for the first time, you need to think about the location. Is the investment for rental income, capital growth, or a bit of both? And is the property freehold or leasehold? Another consideration when investing is how much capital you have and whether you will need to finance your purchase. I'm pleased to inform you that there are plenty of options available, some of which you can see on the screen now. Should any of you have any questions at all, we should have Paul Little from Goldsmiths in the audience, who I'm sure will be happy to advise whilst we're mingling this afternoon. Just wanted to give you a couple of examples where the buy-to-let consultancy has been successful. I was approached last year by an investor who had a substantial private fund. When we discussed her criteria, she was looking for a bit of capital growth and a little bit of yield as well. So advised her best bet would be to invest in 2 properties as opposed to a larger single unit in the area that she was looking in. The first of these was Middle Road in Brighton, a 1-bedroom she purchased for £185, which we then went on to let on the first viewing at £850 a month. This gave her a 5.6% yield, which for the Brighton area is pretty good going. And the second one she bought was on Florence Road, and this was a 2-bedroom flat, again purchased for £185, and was let at £1,000 to professional sharers. And again, this was a really good yield of 6.4%. One of the other things we wanted to mention today was with regards to asset management. You need to ask yourself the question, if you have a portfolio, could your existing portfolio be performing better? At Leaders over the past 3 years, I have successfully increased the rental income for 3 of our largest multi-landlord portfolios. I've been able to offer refurbishment advice and even advise on the rearrangement of the interiors in order to maximise their rental income. Again, if this is something that you may be interested in, please come and see me or one of our branch managers that are here today and this afternoon. So there you have it. I think in this day and age you'll agree that this quality of service and advice is worth its weight in gold in what can be a potential minefield. To succeed in this industry, it is paramount that the right decisions are made very early on in order to reap the potential benefits that are definitely still out there. Please follow my Buy-to-Let blog, which will feature any properties that I visit throughout the Brighton and Hove area, which I believe will make ideal investment opportunities. And as I said, it'll be available at the end of the presentation should you have any questions. I'd now like to hand you over to my colleague Carol Charge, who's going to give you a legal update.